You don't have to say what you did. I already know where to go. I found out from him. All right, it's enough of that. Why is that song stuck in my head today? Also, I have a new microphone and hashtag bad YouTuber is back in full effect today because I feel as though anybody with like this tiniest modicum of YouTube experience would do like a test shot before filming the entire potentially hour-long video and like making sure their microphone works, and we're not going to do that. So hopefully this microphone is actually on and working and like not crazy because if it is, sorry about it. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out at a later date, but let's move on. Oh, let's not, because one other thing. I just had the most incredible braised short rib grilled cheese with like a creamy tomato soup to dunk it in, and oh my God, heaven on a plate. However, big mistake, because now all I want to do is take a nap. So a nap might be in my future. Let's get through this first. Hey guys, we are back with another one, and can you believe that it's June? I actually can. Summer is hands down, no competition, my favorite season. Winter is trash. Don't come at me with your winter. Winter is garbage. It gets dark at like 3 o'clock. It's depressing and it's freezing cold. But summer is coming. It is finally starting to warm up here in Connecticut, and I get my best reading done in the summer. By the pool, out relaxing. I love summer reading so much. And while I am very excited for the summer reading potential, summer is also my busiest season here in this house. So like I discuss all the time, I do have 2 boys. They are very active boys, and they currently play in not 1, not 2, but 3 travel leagues for baseball and soccer. And my youngest son just made the district all-star team in Connecticut, like our area, for the 2nd year in a row. And I'm very proud of him, but that makes it 4 travel teams that start up. Like, we're already in our 3 seasons. So like I was saying before my battery so rudely died, we are now going to be adding a 4th travel team onto our schedule, and we are running like crazy. I am at some sort of sports field 6 to 7 days a week. And although I am really adaptable at like reading on the road and like reading on my, in my car and on my Kindle, and I do really still get my books in, I don't want to feel any extra pressure. And I want to make sure that I always prioritize like watching my boys' games and things like that. So here's what I think we're going to do for this month. So if you guys are the OGs who have been watching since the beginning of the Spin Wheel TBR, we always started out with like a base of 10 spins. And as we added different wheels and as we added different elements to our game, we always kept those 10 spins. And now what the game has evolved into is our base 10 spins plus 1 wild spin on any wild spin wheel, I guess we call it, that we didn't use during the course of our regular game during our 10 spins. And what that has resulted in is like pretty consistently 15 book TBRs every single month. And that's crazy because my best reading month ever in my entire life was 13 books. So I don't mind that because it gives me a little flexibility, but what I've found is that I'm not mood reading as much because instead of having to pick off like my entire shelves for a mood read, I'm going to this specific stack. So ironically enough, while trying to give myself more options, I've actually pigeonholed myself. So I still want to have a bunch of books and even potentially more books than I know I'm going to read on my TBR, but like I want to rein it in this month while we get our baseball and soccer schedule under wraps and like get it figured out. It's a little chaotic around here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to try this out this month. I am going to abandon the 10 base spins, and I am just going to evolve that into however many spins of the books that I read the past month. So for example, in the month of May, I read 7 books. So I'm going to start out with 7 spins instead of 10. And I'm going to continue doing our wild reel spins at the end so that it just pares it down a little bit. So now, even if I do my 7 spins and have to spin, I think we're up to like 5 or 6 random wild wheels, I'm still only at like 12 books-ish instead of 15 because that was starting to get a little bit overwhelming. So I think that's what we're going to do. So like I said, I read 7 books in the month of May, which is awesome. I had a pretty mediocre reading month. Well, actually, I found my first 5-star of the year. So I guess it was better than mediocre, but I had a pretty good reading month. So we're going to start out with 7 spins. All right, let's get it pulled up. And I'm coming prepared this month. Like, what's my deal? New microphone, have my iPad. I guarantee you I forgot to do something. I guarantee you we'll discover it. I actually know that I forgot to turn Siri off on my phone, and that's going to interfere because when I have my Siri turned on multiple devices, like every device in the house just starts answering me when I say it. So let's turn her off on my phone. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up our spin wheel. Here she is. Here's our spin wheel. This is the spin wheel as it was when we ended last month. So I'm going to do better about remembering to randomize. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hit our randomize button. So bye, spin wheel. Here's the new one. There it is. Okay, so if you remember last month, for some reason, the randomizer just put the 2 genre spin slices together. And for some reason, I immediately zeroed in on that and said like, oh, the genre spins are together. And we got that, I think like 3 times last month, something like that. So let's see if anything stands out to me on this one. Not particularly. I think it's pretty like randomized. However, what I am seeing is that right in this top corner, the Kindle spin, the series spin, the author last name, and another Kindle spin kind of grouped together. So we're either going to hit that section a lot or we're going to get a lot of shelves this month. So, all right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3 for spin number 1. 24 and 24. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, I did a video at the beginning of 2024 talking about 24 books I wanted to read in this month. And we are slowly, very slowly, and not making as much progress as I'd like, very slowly working our way down this list. And this excites me because I really need to make better progress. So let's go ahead and pull up our 24 and 24 wheel. Here we go. Here it is. This is all the rest of the books that are in my 24 list that I haven't read. I think I've only read like 4. So there's somewhere about 20 books on this reel. So let's go ahead and randomize it. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. There are some books on here that I'm kind of hoping I don't get. Heavenly Bodies. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me go grab that. But also, spinning this wheel, if you look, it almost landed on, let me turn this off. It almost landed on Guild. And it made me realize that I completely forgot to mention that we're starting out this month with 1 book already on our TBR, and that is Guild by Raven Kennedy, because the Homey and Homely Book Club kind of through a comedy of errors. There was a 4-way tie, and then we had to do a random spin wheel to pick it. We ultimately decided to read Guild this month in the Homey and Homely Book Club. So it's always linked down below. It's always free, and it's just a group of like 85 of us who love to discuss, pick a book together, discuss it. We read it chapter by chapter throughout the month. So if you want to join, it's free. Just download the Fable app, and it's linked down below. So we will be reading Guild, but let me go ahead and grab Heavenly Bodies really quickly and add that to our list. Here she is, Heavenly Bodies by Imani Erriu, E-R-R-I-U. I don't exactly know how to pronounce that, but I'm so excited that this was the book that was picked. We're going to go over everything at the end of the video, but this is book number 1 on our TBR. Okay, starting out strong with a wild spin. So let's go ahead and do spin number 2. The wild spins for the, I swear to God, specifically because I said that this month was going to be all shelves. It's going to be all wilds, and I am okay with that. So this is our series spin wheel. Let's go ahead and pull up our series spin. So if this is your first time joining, this is currently all of the series that I'm in the middle of. And I acknowledge and understand and agree that this is nuts. So that is why this wheel exists, because we want to slowly pare down on what series I'm in the middle of. So let's go ahead and randomize our wheel and go ahead and see what we're going to continue. There's 2 on here that I really don't want. So let's see. Oh, The Right Move. That is one that I desperately wanted. I read the first book, which was Mile High, last month, and I know that book gets a lot of hate, but it wasn't my favorite thing on planet Earth, but I actually didn't mind it. And I've heard The Right Move is arguably the best in the series. So this is by Liz Tomford. It is a hockey romance, I believe. Is he still on the hockey team in the second one? I think it is, but very excited about that one. So go ahead and add that right to the TBR. And now we're going to go back and spin our third spin. Shelf 5. It always ends like right in the middle, and I never know what it's going to be. Shelf 5 is in the other room, and it is a thriller shelf. So let's go ahead and move the camera. Okay, so here we are at shelf 5. Like I said, it is a thriller shelf. This one has all of my Sally Hepworth, my Stacey Willinghams, it has my Megan Mirandas, it has my Alice Feeney. I don't have a super huge collection of hers, but let's see what we're gonna get. This has 22 books on it, so. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 22.
A random number between 1 and 22 is 19.
19. All right, guys, get ready to be triggered because I am absolutely gonna count all the way from the start. I'm sorry, it's a habit, gotta do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, we're gonna have to move these. Ugh. I have yet to learn the lesson to not overpack my shelves. Okay, number 19 is The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. I actually don't think I know much about this. I think this is one of her older books. Yeah, because The Only Survivors and Daughter of Mine are older. Was this her first book? We're going to have to look that up, but I'm very excited for this one. I'm not a gigantic thriller person, but there is something about sitting by the pool in the summer and reading a thriller, so I am excited about this. All right, looking like we're going to have a good variety on there. So we have 1 fantasy, 1 romance, and 1 thriller so far. So let's do spin number 4. What are the chances we actually just hang out in this room for a while? Yes. This is my all-time favorite wheel. Let's just bring it up and we could just look at the insanity together because I've added to it. I say it every single month, but I have no excuses and I have no regrets. It is what it is. So this is our book prompt wheel. On this wheel that you are staring at, which is impossible to tell because I have so many prompts on there that you literally cannot read. It just looks like a block of black lettering, but there are actually about 500 prompts on this wheel, random. Some of them are darn near impossible and are going to take me forever, but I get so excited to spin this wheel because it is just so cool and so creative. So let's go ahead and randomize it. And let's see what prompt it's going to give me. Oh, I get so nervous. Spin the genre wheel. Okay, so we end up not having to worry about it on this particular spin because the prompt wheel wants me to spin the genre wheel. So let's go ahead. What a time, guys, what a time. And pull up the genre wheel. On this wheel, we just have a bunch of different genres. It's a little bit of like a wild pick for me. I just need to stay within the genre. So let's randomize it. All right, let's see what genre. Fantasy. While that leaves me with about 1 million different options and it's kind of like a free fantasy pick, it also leaves me with about 1 million different options. Oh, what book do I choose? Okay, this is going to take some thought, but luckily we don't have to think about that until the end. Okay, a fantasy book. That's spin number 4. Okay, that's fine. Let's do spin number 5. Oh, what am I doing? Let's do spin number 5. Shelf 20. That is a romance shelf, I think. Is it a romance shelf or is it a special edition shelf? Okay, let's find out. Let me move the camera to the other room. So as I suspected, shelf 20 is a special edition shelf. It is also the place of residence for Sammy, my jelly cat sandwich that I'm obsessed with. My kids picked this out for me. So this shelf has 37 different books on it. So, hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 37.
A random number between 1 and 37 is 15.
15. Okay, let's see what that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This is the Illumicrate. Yes, the Illumicrate edition, actually. It's actually a beautiful edition. It has this really cool, clear cover on it. I have been wanting to read something by Alex E. Harrow, and I've actually heard that this is one of his best, or her, I think it's a her, one of her best works. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. One of her best works, so I'm very excited to get into this. This is kind of a lot of thriller for summer, but that's okay. Okay, so just like that, we are on spin number 6, but don't get too sad because we still have our wilds and we still have to find our genre book. So, okay, let's go see what spin number 6 is going to give us. Oh, here's the chunk. What is it? I can't look. Author last name. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up our author first and last wheel. We do have to randomize it. Let's go ahead and do that before I forget. Okay, so this wheel has every letter of the alphabet on it, and we are going to spin this wheel, and whatever letter it gives us, we have to select a book with the author with the last name that starts with that letter. So let's go ahead and see. Why do I feel like it's going to be a hard one? It's not going to be easy on me. S, please. Author with the sorry if I just yelled in the microphone. I don't even know if this microphone is working. Whatever. Author with the last name of I. Okay, well, we're going to have to figure that out at the end. Author with the last name of I. Off the top of my head. Whatever. If we can't find anything, we'll just respin. But let's go ahead and pull up our wheel. Okay, so what spin is this now? This is 7. This is our last spin before our wilds. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Author, first name. So back to our letter wheel we go. Author with the last name I. What is this going to be? Author with the first name Q? What is it going to be? Like, I don't even know. X? All right, let's see. Oh, it was nice to me. Okay, author with the first name H I could do. All right, let's go over what we have from our 7 spins and figure out what spins we have to do now. Okay, so I have our list and we have 3 books that we need to pick. So our genre wheel fantasy pick, that's very broad, and our author last name I and author first name H. Which one do we do first? All right, let's do author first name H because I think that's going to be the easiest. Then go into author last name I and then do our random fantasy pick. Should I do my other spins first? I probably should because what if like one of them has first name H? I won't pick that one. Okay, so which one have we done? We did our 24 and 24. We did our series spin. We did our author first, author last, and a genre spin. Technically, does our book prompt spin count? Because it then told us to spin the genre. I think if we counted that, that would be double dipping. So I think we should also have to do our book prompt spin. So we have our Kindle spin, our book prompt spin, and our emoji spin. So we're gonna have to do 3 additional spins. Let's go ahead and do those. Okay, so now the question is, which one do we do first? Okay, we have book prompt. Let's do book prompt because technically we already did that one. So let's pull our prompt wheel up again. Here she is. And let's see what prompt we're going to get for this one. So help me God if it's another one that tells me to spin another wheel. Last month's Afterlight book. What was last month's Afterlight book? Was it the Kiss Countdown? Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, Afterlight is Illumicrate's romance, specifically romance book subscription. So I'm gonna have to go and look that up. Hold, please. It has been located. Okay, so because we are technically spinning for our June books, even though today is actually the second to last day of May for me, because we're spinning for our June TBR, it would be last month's, which is May's Afterlight book, and that is One Last Shot by Betty Cowett. This looks super summery. I have no idea what it's about, but man, is this edition beautiful. I don't know if you could see that. Let me try to get my face out of the way, but this is an absolutely stunning edition. Oh, I'm so excited to read the synopsis of this one. That looks like perfect summer reading. So, okay, let's add this one to the stack and do our next spin. I think for our next spin, we should do our Kindle spin. So let's go ahead and pull up our Kindle wheel. This craziness is currently all the books and all the arcs that I currently have on my Kindle. Are you overwhelmed? Because I'm overwhelmed. So these are all the books that I currently have on my Kindle. So let's go ahead and randomize it. Not that you'll be able to tell, but it is randomized, and spin to see what's going on our June TBR. There's so many books. It's ridiculous. Between Ink and Shadows. Okay, so I can tell it's a fantasy. Do I know what it's about? No, couldn't guess. Your guess is as good as mine. So let's go ahead and add it to the list, and we'll talk about it when we talk about our stack at the end. Okay, so next up is our emoji spin. This is our newest wheel. We added this one last month, and what it is almost, not every, but almost every emoji that exists on a wheel, and I have to spin and then pick a book that somehow incorporates the vibe or the general idea of that emoji. And if you did watch last month's spin wheel, it gave me the most obscure little face with like a Kleenex and blowing its nose, and I took it to mean a main character that had like a chronic illness or was sick. But you guys were so creative in the comments, and you told me like I could have done a sad book, like I'm wiping my nose and like I'm crying and I'm sad. I wouldn't have ever thought about that. So your help in the comments is invaluable. But let's see the craziness, the wild goose chase that the emoji spin wheel is going to put me on this month. All right, 1, 2, 3. It's always just so random. A cookie. A cookie. A cookie? Okay, wait, I feel like this has to be easier than the Kleenex, the tissue emoji. Okay, we'll think about that, but the cookie emoji. We are done spinning, and I could have waited no longer. Author first name H. I think this should be the easiest. So let's go ahead and do some author first name H searching. Cue the time lapse.
Everybody has their job, 9 to 5, and getting drained. They settle for second best, scared to risk what the future might bring. What the future might bring. I hold my breath, waiting for someone to knock at my door, telling me
We may have a problem. I just went through every single book on my shelves, and I found a ton of options for author first name H, but 0 options for author last name I. So I don't want to cheat. I really want to try to make this happen. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to go through my Kindle and we are going to go through my Goodreads and see if there is an author on either of those lists with a last name that begins with I. Try to do those, and if we can't find anything, we might have to respin for a different letter. This is crazy. I guarantee you someone in the comments is going to be like, you totally walked by a book and like disregarded it and their last name begins with I. But I swear to God, I looked and I paid attention and I didn't see anything. So if I did forget something, I'm sorry, but I didn't see it. So let me go grab my phone and let's sit down and try to go through our options. Obtained. Okay. So I'm trying to think of what the easiest way would be to go about this. So I'm going to pull up my Goodreads and let's go to like, I'm so bad at putting things that I actually have on my Goodreads, but let's go to my want to read. Is there a way to sort this? Sorted by author. Can we do that? Okay, sorted by author. Is that going to be last name? Okay, it's last name. All right, so basically let's just scroll down. Oh my God, this is going to take forever. Imagine. Okay, let's just try to scroll down to I. Hold, please. Guys, we're on G. I've been doing this forever. I swear to God, if I do finally get down to I with Goodreads slow buffering speed and there's nothing. Okay, we're officially on Anna Huang, so we should be getting close. HUA, Anna Huang, Ava Hunter, Hunting. Okay, here we go. Oh! Wait, I do have this. Okay, wait. Let me actually go grab these from my shelves and then we'll talk about it. So after all that drama, we actually have some really, really good author with the last name I options. We're going to discuss that at the end. But now the last one I have to do is just figure out what I want to do for my fantasy genre spin. So let me think about that really quick. Let me go through a couple of my lists. So I think I'm officially done searching through my shelves, but I do want to look through my Kindle books for a couple of options as well. And I'm also going to go ahead and try to find a book featuring cookies or something incorporating cooking or cookies for our emoji spin as well. And I do recognize the irony of currently eating a Milano cookie while I search for a book incorporating cookies, but I feel like this is our inspiration, this little guy right here. So let's go ahead and look.
I never thought in the wildest dream I'd see you again. Never dreamed about nothing else other than you. I always thought I'd be waiting in vain, but suddenly there you were.
Oh, searching is officially complete. That was actually so much harder than I thought it was going to be, but I think we have a lot of good options. But let's go and do a recap of our full stack and talk about what we picked as we go. So for our first spin, we got Heavenly Bodies by Amani Iriu, something like that, Iriu. I don't know much about this, but I know it's a fantasy, and it says, in a world ruled by the stars, cruel and merciless gods that watch over the world, Alara has been cursed by fate, a prophecy that promises she will fall for a star and it will kill them both. But when one descends to wreak havoc on Alara's kingdom, she is forced to flee into the arms of her enemy in the neighboring country. As she learns more about her own magic and the depth of the stars' deceits, she finds herself also learning more about the country she takes refuge in and the enemy prince forced to train her onto a weapon. Romance vibes. Something dark brews within her, a power made of night and shadow that begs to be broken free. It says that it's a blend of romance, intrigue, and mythology. Sounds pretty good. Our second spin was a series spin, and the series we are going to continue on is the Windy City series. Say that 10 times fast. Windy City series by Liz Tomford, and we are moving on with The Right Move. So what I've gathered from this is it follows the brother of the female main character from the first book, Mile High, and the female main character from Mile High's friend, like best friend who or slash coworker, and their story. I'm not sure how that's going to interact, but I actually really enjoyed Mile High, and I found Liz Tomford's writing really easy to go through, so I'm excited to get into it. Spin number 3 gave us The Last to Vanish by Megan Miranda. A little thriller to throw on to the mix. It says, 10 years ago, Abigail Lovett fell into a job she loves, managing the Passage Inn, a cozy resort nestled in the mountains of North Carolina in a town called Cutter's Pass. Tourists are drawn to the town for its outdoor offerings and proximity to the Appalachian Trail, but also for its notorious history as the last known location for 6 different visitors who vanished without a trace over the past 3 decades. When journalist Landon West comes to investigate the story of Vanishing Trail, then disappears himself, the town and the inn are thrust back into the spotlight. Sounds really good. I've never read a Megan Miranda, but I've heard really good things about her. So hopefully she becomes one of my new thriller author go-tos, because we know that I don't really love the thriller genre in general. So let's see if she can change my mind. So next we spun our genre wheel and we got fantasy. So we needed to pick a fantasy book, and I have 3 options. So the first one I grabbed off my shelves was none other than Throne of Glass by Miss Sarah J. Maas. I read The Assassin's Blade, I believe it was 2 months ago, and I really loved it. And I don't want to leave too much time in between it, because I am someone who starts forgetting characters and forgetting names. So I loved The Assassin's Blade, and I'm really excited to move on. So Throne of Glass is a really good option. But I've also been seeing really amazing things about The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer. From what I've gathered about this, it almost has like a Willy Wonka vibe. I think it's about like a reclusive author who gives people an opportunity to win the rights to his next book. Very like the reclusive candy maker who gives people the opportunity to inherit his chocolate factory. You know what I'm saying? That's just the vibes I got. But it says, Jack Masterson announces he's finally written a new book. Even better, he's holding a contest at his home on the real Clock Island, and Lucy is one of the 4 lucky contestants chosen to compete to win the one and only copy of his new book. I've heard this is whimsical and really fantastic. And then last but not least, I also pulled Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco off my shelves. This is the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I read Kingdom of the Wicked, I believe the same month I read Assassin's Blade, and really, really liked it. And I've heard, like in most series, that it only gets better as you continue. So I want to move forward with that. So if we look at these 3 books, how am I supposed to choose? I also love that The Wishing Game is so short. It's itty bitty. It's only like 250 pages. But these were some of my favorite reads of the last couple of months. What do I do? I think I'm going to go ahead and put Throne of Glass officially on our TBR, because like I said, it is a massive series that's going to take me a while to get through. And I don't want to keep going months between books, or else I'll be doing this for the next 6 years. But more importantly, I'll be forgetting characters and elements of the story between them. So I am going to go ahead and make sure that I continue my progress in the Throne of Glass series, because Sarah J. Maas is the GOAT of fantasy. So next, the spin wheel selected a shelf and gave us The Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. I'm excited about this. Like, honestly, if I have to have thrillers, I find that I mostly prefer paranormal thrillers, which I'm pretty sure this is. And let's see what it says. This clear cover is a little hard to read, but it says, step into Starling House if you dare. Nobody in Eden remembers when Starling House was built, but the town agrees it's best to let this ill-omened mansion and its last lonely heir go to hell. Stories of the house's bad luck, like good china, have been passed down like generations. Opal knows better than to mess with haunted houses or brooding men, but when an opportunity to work there arises, the money might get her brother out of Eden. Starling House is uncanny and full of secrets, just like Arthur, its heir. It also feels strangely, dangerously like something she's never had, a home. Yet Opal isn't the only one interested in the horrors and the wonders that lie buried beneath it. Sinister forces converge on Eden, and Opal realizes that if she wants a home, she'll have to fight for it, even if it involves digging up her family's ugly past to achieve a better future. She'll have to go down, deep down beneath Starling House to claw her way back to the light. Like I said, Because I'm not a gigantic mystery thriller person, I think if you throw on kind of like a paranormal fantasy element, it holds my interest more. And also, one thing I found is that the biggest gripe I have with mystery thriller is when it gets super unbelievable and the characters make stupid decisions and the plot just gets kind of silly, in my opinion. I think when you make it paranormal and you throw on a fantasy element, that removes that constant need to believe the storyline for me, because obviously it's fantasy. It's not supposed to be taken super seriously. This isn't something where you're going to walk out of your house and encounter a fae world. So I think when you add on a little bit of fantasy and paranormal vibe, it's like my comfort zone. So this sounds like it may be a perfect blend between paranormal, thriller, fantasy. Now moving on to our author last name, I actually did end up, I thought this was going to be the most challenging, but it wasn't. I actually did end up having quite a few options for this. So the first one I found was What the River Knows. What the River Knows. What is going on right now? What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This is the Owl Crate edition, I think. This book is heavy, so I will definitely be reading this on my Kindle. But I think this is like Egyptian, something like that. It says Bolivian. Oh, it's like a South American or a Central American. Who knew? Okay. Bolivian Argentinian Inez Oliveira belongs to the glittering upper society of 19th century Buenos Aires, and like the rest of the world, the town is steeped in old world magic that's been largely left behind or forgotten. Inez has everything a girl might want, except for the one thing she yearns for the most, her globe-trotting parents, who frequently leave her behind. When she receives word of their tragic death, Inez inherits their massive fortune and a dangerous guardian, an archaeologist in partnership with his Egyptian brother-in-law. I didn't make up the Egyptian element. Okay. Yearning for answers, Inez sails to Cairo, bringing her sketch pads and a golden ring her father sent to her for safekeeping before he died. But upon her arrival, the old world magic tethered to the ring pulls her down a path where she discovers there's more to her parents' disappearance than what her guardian led her to believe. With her guardian's infuriatingly handsome assistant thwarting her at every turn, Inez must rely on ancient magic to uncover the truth about her parents' disappearance or risk becoming a pawn in a larger game that will kill her. It says it's The Mummy meets Death on the Nile. Guys, that sounds so good. So the next two options are actually by the same author, and that is none other than Mr. James Islington. I have The Will of the Many. I believe this is his newer release. Yeah, it came out in May of last year. And it says, at the elite Katanan Academy, a young fugitive uncovers layered mysteries and world-changing secrets. It says, the Katanan Republic, the hierarchy, may rule the world now, but they do not know everything. I tell them my name is Viz Telemus. I tell them I was orphaned after a tragic accident 3 years ago, and that good fortune alone has led to my acceptance into their most prestigious school. I tell them that once I graduate, I will gladly join the rest of civilized society in allowing my strength, my drive, and my focus, what they call will, to be leached away and added to the power of those above me, as millions already do, as all must eventually do. I tell them that I belong, and they believe me. But the truth is that I have been sent to the academy to find answers, to solve a murder, to search for an ancient weapon, to uncover secrets that may tear the Republic apart, and that I will never, ever cede my will to the empire that executed my family. To survive, though, I will still have to rise through the Academy's ranks. I will have to smile and make friends and pretend to be one of them and win. Because if I cannot, then those who want to control me, who know my real name, will no longer have any use for me. And if the hierarchy finds out who I truly am, they will kill me. I've heard a little bit about this. It's like your will and your spirit powers their city, I think. I'm like getting Monsters, Inc. vibes. Like, the city is powered by screams. I think that their world is powered by your will and your personhood. So I've heard it's pretty good, but I've heard James Islington's writing is incredibly dense. So the second book I have by him is, let me pull it up right now, The Iconic The Shadow of What Was Lost. This book is a brick. I think it's like 800 pages. It says, a young man with forbidden magic finds himself drawn into an ancient war against a dangerous enemy. In book 1 of the Licanius trilogy, the series that fans are heralding as the next Wheel of Time. As destiny calls, a journey begins. It has been 20 years since the godlike augurs were overthrown and killed. Now those who once served them, the gifted, are spared only because they have accepted the rebellion's 4 tenets, vastly limiting their powers. As a gifted, Davian suffers the consequences of war lost before he was even born. He and others like him are despised, but when Davian discovers he wields the forbidden power of the augurs, he and his friends Wur and Asha set into motion a chain of events that will change everything. To the west, a young man whose fate is intertwined with Davian's wakes up in the forest, covered in blood and with no memory of who he is, and in the far north, an ancient enemy long thought defeated begins to stir. I have heard this series is one of the best as far as like epic high fantasy, but my concern is similar to his writing in The Will of the Many. It seems very dense, but I've also heard it's very difficult to understand. But I've heard if you can really trudge through it and get through it, you're going to be obsessed with it. So these are 2 slightly intimidating options. And last but not least, on a slightly less serious option, I have Opposites Attract by Camilla Isley. It says, first law of magnetism, opposite poles attract. Single mom Vivian has been burned by love once before, and her job as a divorce lawyer has presented enough evidence to convince her there are no good men left in New York City. The worst offender is her new neighbor, Dr. Lucas Keller, a couples therapist whose piercing blue eyes and flawless dark hair are just as annoying as his bad temper. And when Lucas starts poaching Vivian's clients by saving their marriages, she makes it her mission to force him out of the building to save her practice. But it's Lucas who gives her the perfect opportunity when he proposes an unexpected bet. With their offices at stake, Vivian and Lucas play the field of love in a fierce battle of wits that quickly turns hot and personal, especially when Vivian's daughter gets involved. Now taking down Lucas has become more than business for Vivian. It will become a pleasure, and soon Vivian and Lucas will realize how pointless it is to fight the laws of attraction. So a little rom-com. So we have I believe this is classified as YA. So we have like a YA adventure, The Mummy meets Death on the Nile, 2 epic high fantasies, and a rom-com for our author last name I. So if we're looking at our list so far, we are pretty equal right now. We have only one romance so far. Then we have a thriller, a paranormal thriller, and 2 fantasies. Okay. So we'll process of elimination this. Okay. So if we're looking at, these are our 4 options. Let's go ahead and get rid of both the James Islingtons. I really do want to get into his work, guys. I feel really bad. And it's nothing with how excited I am for his work. I just don't know that June is going to be the month that I start an 800-page, really dense, epic high fantasy series. So we are left with What the River Knows and Opposites Attract. We only have The Right Move right now as our romance option. But I really want to read. I think there's a romance element to What the River Knows. Oh God, what do I do? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put Opposites Attract by Camilla Isley on my TBR. And I feel like this one's kind of out of left field because it's not like a very well-known author. It's not like a book I've really been anticipating. This is very random, and this is why I love this game, because it ends up bringing to the forefront books that I wouldn't prioritize. But I just feel like I need like a couple more options for little lighthearted, easy peasy, by the pool rom-com romances. So this is going to officially go on our June TBR. As you can see, it was quite a lot easier to find books with author first name H. So let's go through very quickly the books that I pulled. I am not going to read the synopses of all of these, but I'll give you like my main thoughts on them, the basic genre, and we'll go from there. So book number 1 that I grabbed is actually The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is book 2 in the Cruel Prince series. Is that what it's called? I think it is. I think it's the Cruel Prince series. It's not. What is the series name? Folk of the Air, right? Is it the Folk of the Air? Folk of the Air series. This is a fantasy. It is not a romantasy. At least not The Cruel Prince. Don't let anyone tell you that that's a romantasy, because if you go into it expecting romance, you will hate it like I did, okay? I actually have a little bit of a backstory with The Cruel Prince. I'm not going to get into it right now, but I did read it when I was first getting into fantasy, and I did not like it. But in fairness, I've been thinking about possibly doing a reread of it because I don't think I understood it. Like I wasn't into it at the time, and I don't think I appreciated it for what it was, especially because I had it confused and thought it was a mafia romance. I thought it was The Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, and I grabbed The Cruel Prince and made it about halfway through before I went, where's the mafia? And realized I had the wrong book. So I didn't like it, but I don't think I gave it a fair shot. So maybe what I need to do is do a reread of The Cruel Prince by Holly Jackson first, or Holly Black, excuse me, by Holly Black first. So maybe we'll put The Cruel Prince as an option instead. I also grabbed Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. Don't know much about this. I know it's a girl who I believe is literally the assistant to a villain, and I've heard it's pretty funny and whimsical, so I've really wanted to get into this. Then I actually grabbed 2 books by Holly Jackson. I grabbed Five Surprise. Oh my God, it's time for another coffee. Five Surprise. No. Five Survive, and her new release, which is the reappearance of Rachel Price. I've actually really wanted to read both of these. I've heard really good things about both of them. I know Destiny really liked Five Survive, and I think, was it Haley Pham that recently read the reappearance of Rachel Price and liked it? I think Destiny did too. Cute little like YA mystery thrillers. So those are some options. I could also go for a little bit of a dark romance vibe and go with Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I'm not a super dark romance lover. I'm not opposed to it. I just haven't read a ton of it. And it says, who am I? I've forgotten the answer to that question long ago. An enigmatic man that will only ever love the deep sea, or rather the predators that inhabit it. Oh, that's right. Doesn't this have something to do with sharks? Guys. Can you see the shark? Oh, but I've heard it's really weird and really dark. I know Larry loves this book. Okay. I don't know if I'm ready for this one yet, but we will see. I wanted to throw a couple of literary fiction options on, so I did do Cassandra in Reverse by Holly Smale and Husbands by Holly Gramazio. I know this one is a woman who either inherits or buys a house, and every single time she enters the home or something, a new husband comes down from the attic. Little bizarre, but I've heard it's kind of cute. And then I know nothing about Cassandra in Reverse, but I think this is more of like, if you had the power to change the past, would you? The utterly charming novel tells the story of heartbreak, second chances, and one woman's journey through time to discover that thinking and feeling differently from those around her doesn't mean she's broken. So if I wanted to go a little bit more of like a lit fic option, I could choose one of these. And then last but not least, I grabbed Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the second book in the interconnected standalone series, I think it's the Maple Hills series. And I know this one takes place during the summer at a summer camp. So this could be a really cute option for June. And I really liked the first book, Icebreaker, and I flew through it. I feel like I finished that entire 400 page book in like one day. So this is a good quick read. Usually nothing too serious. It might be a cute little by the pool, but at the beach book. So staring at our stack, let's process of elimination it. So right from the start, I'm gonna eliminate the Cruel Prince. I don't feel like reading it again. One day I think I will do a reread and try to give it a fairer shot because I know it's a cult favorite of so many booktubers, but this is not the month. So Cruel Prince is out. Oh, I think I am going to eliminate both of our lit fic options. I actually am very excited about Husbands. I probably would have gone for this one over Cassandra in Reverse, but just isn't calling to me more than the other books on my list. So we are between The Assistant to the Villain, Five Survive, The Reappearance of Rachel Price, Does It Hurt, and Wildfire. Okay, so let's get rid of one of the Holly Jacksons. Let's go ahead and get rid of The Reappearance of Rachel Price because I am a chronological reader. I'm not like super strict about it, but if I can read authors' public works chronologically, I prefer to. And Five Survive came out before this one. So let's get rid of this one. And now we're down to these. Okay. How many thrillers do we have right now? Starling House. Okay, so let's get rid of Five Survive as well, actually, because we already have 2 thrillers on our list, and I'm not a huge thriller reader, so let's get rid of Five Survive. So we're down to Assistant to the Villain, Does It Hurt, and Wildfire. I'm going to eliminate Assistant to the Villain because of the 3, it's the one I'm least excited about. Oh my God. So I'm down to 1 I really want to read and 1 I'm scared of. But how scared I am of Does It Hurt is making me super intrigued by it. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to put Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton on my June TBR. Am I going to regret this decision? If you have read this book, please comment below and tell me if I'm going to want to gouge my ears and eyes by the time I'm done with this book. Did I just make a mistake? For our next spin, it was our emoji wheel, and we got the cookie emoji. It's just gonna hang out down in this corner here for a little while so that we don't forget what we're doing, because these books are going to seem super random. So I did find 2 on my shelves that I think I could apply to this emoji. And the first one is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. If you look on the cover, I'll post a picture here. If you look on the cover, it does show them baking. Now, while it's specifically not a cookie, it is a pie. However, if you read the synopsis, it says, opposites certainly attract for a stranded pop star and a small town baker. So he's a baker. I would assume that he makes cookies every once in a while as a baker. So we could go this direction. We could also go with Heartless by Marissa Myers. So this is a Queen of Hearts retelling from Alice in Wonderland. And the gist of it, I believe, is that she didn't originally want to be the Queen of Hearts. She actually wanted to she had dreams of opening her own bakery, and I think she's forced into it. It says, Catherine may be one of the most desired girls in Wonderland and a favorite of the unmarried king, but her interests lie elsewhere. A talented baker, she wants to open a shop and create delectable pastries, but for her mother, such a goal is unthinkable for a woman who could be a queen. At a royal ball where Kath is expected to receive the king's marriage proposal, she meets handsome and mysterious Jest. For the first time, she feels the pull of true attraction. At the risk of offending the king and infuriating her parents, she and Jest enter into a secret courtship. Kath is determined to choose her own destiny, but in a land thriving with magic, madness, and monsters, fate has other plans. So she wanted to open a bakery. Oh my God. The words in this are so small. Okay, so once again, I would assume that she would make cookies in her bakery, right? So the next book I have is on my Kindle. The next couple of books are on my Kindle, actually. And the first one I grabbed was A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. This book sounds absolutely adorable, and I've wanted to get into T. Kingfisher's writing because I've heard that it's very polarizing. Like, some people love it, but some people hate it. And this one says, 14-year-old Mona isn't like the wizards charged with defending the city. She can't control lightning or speak to water. Her family is a sourdough starter, and her magic only works on bread. She has a comfortable life in her aunt's bakery making gingerbread men dance. Gingerbread men are what? Cookies. Okay, so it's featuring cookies. But Mona's life is turned upside down when she finds a dead body on the bakery floor. An assassin is stalking the streets of Mona's city, preying on magic folk, and it appears that Mona is his next target. In an embattled city, suddenly bereft of wizards, the assassin may be the least of Mona's worries. This cover is adorable. It has 10,000 ratings on Amazon and 41,000 ratings on Goodreads. It's rated 4.6 on Amazon and 4.1 on Goodreads. So this might be the one. Next, I have The Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder by Joanna Fluke. This is actually the first in the Hannah Swenson mystery series by Joanna Fluke. There are currently 30 books in the series. 30. Do I want to start a 30-book series? Why not at this point? I don't know. But this is the first in the series, and it obviously probably is the one that fits the prompt the best because it has cookie in the title, cookies all over the cover, and it's about cookies. This is a cozy mystery. And it says, no one cooks up a delectable suspense-filled mystery quite like Hannah Swenson, Joanne Fluke's dessert baking red-haired heroine, whose ginger snaps are as tart as her comebacks, and whose penchant for solving crimes one delicious clue at a time has made her a best-selling favorite. It says it all began on these pages with a bakery, a murder, and some suddenly scandalous chocolate chip crunchies. Hannah already has her hands full trying to dodge her mother's attempts to marry her off while running the Cookie Jar, Lake Eden's most popular bakery. But once Ron LaSalle, the beloved delivery man from the Cozy Cow Dairy, is found murdered behind her bakery, with Hannah's famous chocolate chip crunchies scattered around him, her life just can't get any worse. Determined not to let her cookies get a bad reputation, she sets out to track down a killer. But if she doesn't watch her back, Hannah's sweet life may get burned to a crisp. This has a 3.7 rating on Goodreads with 63,464 ratings. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Cozy mystery is not my favorite thing. Like, I read the first Finley Donovan, and it was one of my least favorite books of 2020. Was it 22 that I read it? 23? I don't remember, but I really, really disliked it. So it's kind of turned me away from the super cozy mystery genre, but this is probably the best fit for our prompt. Okay, second to last, we have The Golden Spoon by Jessa Maxwell. This is a mystery, and it's only 288 pages. It says, Only Murders in the Building meets The Maid. Those are the two kind of like inspirations. And it says, it's a darkly beguiling locked room mystery where someone turns up dead on the set of TV's hottest baking competition. I've heard this is like the Great British Bake Off mixed with a mystery. And then last but not least, we have Sunshine by Robin McKinley. If you can believe it, I found a fantasy vampire book that incorporates baking and cookies. I don't know how I managed to do this, but I did, and it was on my Kindle. So let's see. It says, a small town baker uses her magic to confront a post-vampire apocalypse world. Although it has been mostly deserted since the Voodoo Wars, there hadn't been any trouble out at the lake for years. Rice Seaton, nicknamed Sunshine, head baker at her family's busy and popular cafe in downtown New Arcadia, needed a place to get away from all the noise and confusion of the clientele and her family. Just for a few hours, just to be able to hear herself think. She knew about the others, of course, everyone did, and several of her family's best regular customers were from SOF, Special Other Forces, which had been created to deal with the threat and the danger of the others. She drove out to her family's old lakeside cabin and sat on the porch, swinging her feet and enjoying the silence and the silver moonlight on the water. She never heard them coming. Of course you don't when they're vampires. So I'm going to be honest with you, that doesn't sound like it has a ton to do with baking and cooking, except for the fact that she just happens to be a baker. I kind of, like, this just sounds like her being a baker is just kind of like a character trait. It doesn't really sound like it's super incorporated into the book. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So here are all our options for a cookie inspiration. Okay, let's process and eliminate this. I'm immediately going to get rid of Sunshine because I might be wrong. I've obviously never read the book, but like I said a second ago, it doesn't seem like baking and cooking is a central theme. It just seems like it's something that she kind of is. She's just like a baker. So let's get rid of that. I also am going to eliminate The Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder by Joanne Fluke. I wouldn't be opposed to getting into the Hannah Swenson series, but starting a 30-book series in a genre that I'm not always in love with is not really my journey for June. So let's go ahead and get rid of that one. I'm also going to eliminate The Golden Spoon, although the Great British Bake Off mystery is kind of intriguing. But like I said last time, we already have enough thrillers. So that leaves us with When in Rome, Heartless, and A Wizard's Defensive Guide to Baking. Okay, I think I'm going to eliminate When in Rome. Sarah Adams, I've read the cheat sheet by her and it wasn't my favorite book. Actually, the characters in it kind of infuriated me. I don't know if I want to do that to myself again. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And now we're choosing between T. Kingfisher and Marissa Meyer. How much? Let's see. I kind of want to read both of these. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to go with Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I think I'm going to do it. I think I've been wanting to read this book for a really long time. And more importantly, I've been wanting to read Marissa Meyer for a while. And the T. Kingfisher book can wait. So we are officially putting Heartless by Marissa Meyer on our TBR. The next spin was our prompt wheel spin. And we received the prompt to choose the last month's Afterlight book, which was One Last Shot by Betty Cayuette. This is an absolutely beautiful edition, and look at the art. Wait a minute. I mean, it was obviously already chosen, but could I have used this as our book featuring cookies too? So cute. Okay, this is an absolutely stunning edition. I have no idea what this is about. I don't think I've even read the synopsis since it came in, but it says, supermodel Emerson seemingly has the perfect life, but she's tired of looking for love in all the wrong places. When a reminder for the marriage pact she and her former best friend Theo made as teens goes off on her phone, she realizes she has a chance to rekindle the only relationship that ever really made sense. Emerson convinces her grumpy agent to book her as the face of the campaign that Theo, now a fashion photographer, is shooting. The good news? The campaign is being shot in ridiculously romantic Cinque Terre, Italy. The bad news? Cinque Terre? Maybe? The bad news, Theo might not be as happy to see her as she'd hoped. Will this be her one last shot at love or a final goodbye? This sounds amazing. This is like the perfect summer romance. And last but not least, what book was it? Our Kindle spin. Our Kindle spin chose Between Ink and Shadows, which I'm looking up right now because I cannot remember for the life of me what this is. I must have put this on my Kindle like a long time ago. Between Ink and Shadows by Melissa Wright. Okay, here it is. It says, she'll win back her freedom even if she has to steal it. Nimona Weston has a debt to pay. Her father's dealings with the dark society known as the Trust cost Nim her freedom. There's one way out of the contract on her life, and that's to bide her time and pay the tithes. But when the Trust assigns Nim to a task in the King's Own Castle, her freedom is not the only thing she'll risk. Warwick Spencer has a secret. As King's Seneschal? What in the heck is a Seneschal? Seneschal. All right, we're looking this up. Am I even pronouncing that right? Seneschal? Seneschal. Here, I'm going to post it right here. The steward or major domo of a medieval great house. What is a major domo? A governor and other administrative or judicial officer. A governor? What? We're looking up major domo now. I hate definitions that make you look up words in the definition. A major domo, the chief steward of a large household. Okay, so is he like the guy who runs the house? Like the houseboy? I don't know. Okay, whatever. The guy who runs the house, I guess, is what it is. All right. Moving on. So, as the king's guy who runs the house, this word, he should be the last soul in Inara to risk association with dark magic, but long hidden ties to the Trust are harder to shed than simply cutting the threads. When the Trust sends a thief to his rooms, Warwick thinks he's finally found a way to be rid of them for good, but Nimona Weston is hiding secrets of her own. Magical contracts, blood debt accountants, and a deadly game, an epic fantasy with Regency flair, an improper and slightly stabby heroine with a penchant for trouble, clean, slow burn romance, and a dark and twisty plot that pits magic against kings, love against power, and a gothic underworld against a kingdom desperate to survive. Perfect for fans of Sorcery of Thorns and The Shadows Between Us. Okay, wait a minute. That's throwing me off. So my first thought is I'm super glad now that I didn't choose The Shadows of What Was Lost or The Will of the Many, because this sounds a little bit more like non-romantasy, high fantasy. Not high fantasy like that. Not like epic high fantasy, but a little bit more like that. It's clean. I wasn't as excited until I heard it compared to The Shadows of What Was Lost. Or no, I'm sorry. The Shadows Between Us. by Trisha Levenseller because I've talked about this before. I loved that book. Interesting. Once again, wouldn't have prioritized this for June, but maybe it will turn out to be my favorite book. And there you go, guys. Just like that, by making those little tweaks in our game, we went from 15 a month to 10 books a month. And that is going to be much more, these are so heavy. Hold on. Ugh. Okay. That is going to be much more manageable for me, especially because June is so crazy. And I think we have a pretty good combination of genres. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4-ish fantasies. 1, 2, do we count a dark romance as a romance? Like, does it hurt? We'll say it. 3, 4-ish romances. 2 thrillers. Yeah, and 2 thrillers. So we have a pretty good combination of books to keep us busy this month. So I'm excited about it. I think this is a super diverse stack, probably our most diverse that we got. And I think I like this new structure of our game. So comment below what you think. Do you think it's okay to just go off of how many books I read the last month, or do you want to see me bring back our 10 base spins? Comment it down below because you guys have the best ideas. You guys are always right. So comment below. Should we go back to our 10 base spins, or should we make it a little bit more manageable for me every single month, considering I spin 15 for 15 books and I never read them? So also comment below which of these books you're most excited for on my TBR, or ones that you've read and ones that you want me to prioritize giving you guys reviews for, like in our upcoming challenges, because I always love knowing what you guys want to hear my thoughts on. Besides for that, if you've made it all this way, go ahead and comment the cookie emoji for our emoji spin this month, and then go and do all the things you guys are the literal best at, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.